and Dr. Durusha from Mumbai, and it included free papers and a symposium on management of menopause. In 2012, with the collaboration of the World Bank of Sri Lanka and Plantation Human Development Trust, Menopause Society conducted a project where midwives and volunteers in the state sector were educated in detection of problems of menopause and their management. Because the post-menopausal women in the state sector was a neglected lot, and therefore we trained, there were training of trainers, and they went to the houses and explained about menopausal health problems. Successive presidents contributed to the upliftment of the society. Workshops for healthcare workers were held throughout the island, and we went to many parts of the country, and held all over the country, different places, as you see from Jakarta to Hambantota, from Nigam Putlam to Vaticalo. We all went around and had workshops especially for the healthcare workers. Menopause Society published news bulletins, handbooks, newsletters, as you see here, and we also had a handbook for volunteers, that is for the estate sector volunteers, and we had published two books for the healthcare workers in the two languages, and for the doctors, handbook on menopause, again it's very useful for medical students and the doctors, and we had a book called The Public, all about menopause. And of course, we had a video presentation. Of course, this very interesting one, because we had well-known actors and actresses, as well as some doctors who participated in this video, the public, educating the public about menopausal health problems. And he publishes Journal of Menopause with peer-reviewed articles, first launched in 2019. In early 2015, the Menopause Society had a number of meetings with the then Director General of Health Services regarding post-reproductive health of women in Sri Lanka. As a result of these meetings, a national task force was established on 22/1/2016 with the chairmanship of Director General of Health Services, in the presence of many ministry officials. The vision was, with the assistance of the ministry, to train healthcare providers and integrate menopause in primary healthcare. And Kalutara district was selected as a pilot project, and new MOH recruits were trained at the National Institute of Health Services, and all MOH and MOMC in the district were also trained in conducting health examination of perimenopausal women. Unfortunately, perhaps due to conflict of interest among other stakeholders, implementation of the proposals stalled. Incidentally, in UK, Menopause Task Force was established just last year, and these various health strategies are in progress successfully. In Sri Lanka, it is imperative that menopause should be included in the national health policy, so that the impact of menopause health problems are mitigated. This is important when one looks at the economic impact of menopause. GDP in Sri Lanka is about $85 billion, and the health expenditure is only about 4% of the GDP. And the amount that we spend for menopause is negligible. It is estimated there will be about 4 million people, 4 million women by about 2030 in menopausal age, and about 5 million by about 2050. So highest female participation rate in female labor force is in the 40-44 year age group. And thereafter, it drops markedly, indicating curtailing of career longevity. Menopausal symptoms result in absenteeism, early retirement, poor job performance, less productivity. And main menopausal symptoms, as you see here, are hot flushes, night sweats, insomnia, fatigue, mood swings, irritability, depression. Then there are others like dementia, urinary, sexual problems are common, and these health problems will affect the economy of the country. Further, estrogen deficiency lead to metabolic syndrome, resulting in coronary heart disease, strokes, obesity and diabetes. Screening and proper management can bring about reduction in malignancies and above conditions. When one considers the cost of investigation and medical and surgical treatment of menopause health problems, it could amount to billions of rupees. So it's a worthwhile investment for the government, for the state on menopause. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let us look at the other direction. The effect of menopause on us. Firstly, menopause has brought together like-minded persons together, gynecologists as well as those from other disciplines who are interested in the health of menopausal women. And in our councils, we have not only gynecologists, obstetricians and gynecologists, but also physicians, rheumatologists, psychiatrists, medical administrators, community physicians, and members of the public who are interested in menopause. And menopause has created leaders. We have created leaders. Our presidents proceeded to become president of the SSCOG. And they became president of the professional organization, other professional organizations, associations, colleges, various societies, regional federations, and other international organizations. And some became professors also. Menopause has stimulated us to get involved in research activities. And we have been promoting presentation of free papers at our academic session, right, by awarding monetary prizes and certificates, right from our inaugural scientific session. And last year, we completed a research study on health issues of postmenopausal women in Sri Lanka in community-based project in selected public health midwife areas in Cultural District. I regret having to address you from a personal perspective. A few years after we established the Menopause Society, Dr. Hemantha Perera, our founder secretary, invited me to even the editor of the journal of the SLCOG also, and he invited me to contribute an article related to menopause on the journal, on his journal. I chose to write on estrogen receptors, for which purpose I had to search the literature in detail. Estrogen, in addition to its reproductive function, plays a vital role in many physiological functions including cardiovascular, musculoskeletal, immune, central nervous system, and so on. And this is mediated by nuclear hormone receptors, estrogen receptor alpha and estrogen receptor beta. In addition to that, at the time of writing, they are what are called orphan receptors, which are now known as membrane receptors. And one main one, of course, is the G protein coupled estrogen receptor. They are membrane receptor, and there are other, not only G protein coupled estrogen, there are other G protein coupled receptors which are involved in many cyclic mechanisms going in the cell. And ER alpha and ER beta, estrogen receptor alpha and estrogen receptor beta, there are two receptors, two nuclear receptors. And they are large proteins, they are macromolecules. And they have a distinct amino acid composition, as you see here. The large protein, 595 amino acid radicals in one. They have 6 domains. And main one are called the ligand binding domain, as you see here. Ligand binding domain. Then there is a DNA binding domain, and of course activation function one, and which is involved in transcriptional activity. And estrogen, which is the ligand here, bind to estrogen receptor. As you see here, ligand bind the receptor, and of course undergoes conformational changes. It translocates to the nucleus and stimulates the gene transcription, resulting in physiological changes in the cell. If you are in a large crowded room and your wife enters, or vice versa, and you wish to hug her, first there must be contact, followed by recognition or perception. You have recognized or perception, and by the energy process she comes to you. You got to face her, drop whatever you have. Another trouser is hugging. Drop your tab or phone, and then only you can hug her. Sometimes you may hug a lookalike. Sometimes you may hug a lookalike. Similar process occurs with estrogen receptor. Estrogen, being hydrophobic, diffuse to the membrane, enter the cell, which is crowded with proteins. It binds with the estrogen receptor, And the ligand-binding domain of the estrogen receptor is again being a macromolecule. It has 12 alpha helices, and you see the 12 alpha helices mobile, it can move, and it can accommodate co-regulators and binds with estrogen and translocate to the nucleus. Finally, resulting in, as you see here, there's coordinate, there's the estrogen co-activated, H12, helix 12, and it combines and finally moves on to the nucleus and cause resulting in targeted cellular change. And estrogen receptor is only one other, many types of receptors. Each cell has hundreds and thousands of receptors. The cell is highly dynamic and with many molecular actions happening every moment. There is an interesting anecdote. Sometime back at one of our menopause sessions, I and Dr. Hemantha Perera sat for lunch, and we were joined by a senior lady consultant. And as we were discussing about receptors, I told her she's not what she was 5 minutes ago. She looked very downwards toes, flabbergasted, nearly choked the food. When we explained to her about the cellular changes that is constantly occurring in the body, then only she recovered. Ligand receptor interaction is the basis of all biological living cells. All biological functional living cell has ligand receptor action. The ligand, in that case of the estrogen, is a receptor, but there are hundreds and thousands of other ligands and receptors happening. It's a process of selective binding of simple substances of varying nature, maybe proteins, peptides, steroids like estrogen, or part of a DNA, or maybe virus, or even pharmaceutical drugs, to a receptor which is a macromolecule. That is a receptor which is a macromolecule, and the ligand can be any of those. Ligand receptors action is involved in ion crossover. As you see here, there are ion channel receptors, and this helps in the passage of various ions, sodium, potassium, chloride, calcium, all these are shaped through the ion receptors. There are G protein coupled receptors, and there's enzyme link receptor which involves in enzymatic action, and receptor tyrosine, there are kinases, there are various kinase receptors. One is tyrosine kinase, there are other like vitagen activated protein kinase, and this gives a signaling process. There's a cascade of signaling going on in the cell, all through ligand and receptor actions. In all these ligand receptor actions, attraction and repulsion occurs. As you see here, there is attraction and repulsion occurs. Whether it can be van der Waals forces. In van der Waals forces, of course, there are weak, short-range attraction, as you see here, between molecules or atoms arising from fluctuations in electron distribution at state temporary dipoles, or hydrogen bond. In hydrogen bond, there is force between molecules where a hydrogen atom bonded to an electronegative atom like oxygen or nitrogen is attracted to another electronegative atom, or it could be ionic bond, as you see here. In ionic bonds, again the electron transfer resulting in the formation of a positively charged cation and a negatively charged anion, or it could be electrostatic forces. And attraction occurs when there is electron transfer between oppositely charged regions in the ligand and receptor, forming a non-covalent bond. Repulsive forces occur when similarly charged areas on the molecules repel each other, preventing binding. So ligands and receptors are positively or negatively charged ions in their amino acid residues. So all biological functions in the cell all depends on attraction and repulsion. If there's no attraction and repulsion, what do you call it? Can you call it apoptosis? That's programmed death? No, we'll call it process. Can you call it necrosis? Or can you call it autophagy? All these processes are involved in attraction and repulsion. So if there's no attraction and repulsion in cell, what can you call it? I think if you call voidness, I'm in agreement. Nuclear receptors are only present in higher animals like vertebrates. And receptors can sense environment, have contact with the ligand, recognize or perceive the ligand, transfer the signal to cell interior or their neighbors by signal transduction, thus causing an effect to action. If the cell has memory to recognize, analyze the data, and make decisions through its genome and epigenome, isn't it possible that the individual cell has cellular consciousness? I can see expressions of disagreement among some of you, but the cellular consciousness may be at a lower level. And there are many others who have similar views, maybe with a different approach. There's a book on sentient cell, and there are others who believe that every single cell in the body could be conscious. Generally, estrogen is considered as a female hormone, and androgen is a female, and androgen is a male hormone. While androgen has testosterone and dihydrotestosterone, these are considered male hormone. Presently, we are aware but estrogens and androgens regulate many physiological and even some pathological processes in both men and women. Though ovaries are the primary source of estrogen in females, it's also locally produced by aromatization of androgens. In males, testes produce not only testosterone, but it can also synthesize estrogen, while aromatization of androgens in the periphery takes place with local production of estrogen in both males and females. Thus, estrogen and androgens coexist in both males and females, though in different proportions. I referred to this coexistence in our first newsletter 25 years ago as cohabitation. The term cohabitation was used at the time because the president was Mrs. Chandrika Bandaranaike from one party, and the Prime Minister was Ranil Wickremesinghe from the opposition party. The cohabitation, I mean of the parties, went on well until some ministers crossed over, leading to an imbalance, and the government toppled over. So a proper balance of estrogen and androgens is important to ensure optimum health of both men and women, and this too occurred by programming during evolution. In men, estrogen and estrogen receptors are essential for bone development and epiphyseal fusion. Men who are deficient in aromatase cannot make estrogen. They not only have bone abnormalities, but also infertility, dyslipidemia, and metabolic syndrome. In women, androgen has an estrogen-independent effect on bone via androgen receptors. Androgen plays a role in female reproduction and in infertility. Decrease of testosterone in postmenopausal women lead to reduced libido, hyperactive sexual desire disorder, and androgen receptors seem to play a role in breast tumors, because 30% of the triple negative breast tumors are androgen receptor positive. The balance of estrogen and androgens is important in maintaining homeostasis. It can be determined by testosterone-estradiol ratio, which can vary during lifespan and is an indicator of overall health, like metabolic, cardiovascular, fertility, immune status. In the multi-ethnic study of atherosclerosis, there were over 2,000 or nearly 2,800 postmenopausal women who were followed for more than 12 years. They measured all the hormone, testosterone, estrogens, and so on. It was found that higher testosterone-estradiol ratio was associated with elevated risk of incident cardiovascular disease, coronary heart disease, as you see here, total testosterone-estradiol ratio in the cardiovascular disease, coronary heart disease, as well as heart failure. Also in men, there was a significant association of testosterone-estradiol ratio in a US study where the ratio was related to cardiovascular disease, cardiovascular mortality among US men. Some receptors in the body are highly specific. For example, serotonin is the only ligand for serotonin receptor. Other examples are T cell receptors and toll-like receptors. But like all, they are specific receptors. But some receptors are less specific or flexible with regard to ligands. And estrogen receptor, a member of the steroid receptor family, not only binds to natural estrogen like estradiol, estrone, and estriol, but also to a diverse range of exogenous molecules. They can be phytoestrogens, dioxins, plastics, DDT, any pharmaceutical products. Thus one can regrettably say estrogen receptor, unlike other steroid receptor like androgen receptor, mineralocorticoid receptor, glucocorticoid receptors, is the most promiscuous receptor in the body. These endocrine disruptors can lead to adverse health problems like infertility, diabetes, cardiovascular and immune disorders, and even cancers like breast cancer. This promiscuity is due to the fact that estrogen receptor evolved long before the other nuclear receptors. It is versatile. It has many functions, and estrogen receptor has different conformations and open to recruitment to various co-regulators, co-activators, co-repressors, and so on. And all these exogenous MET ligands have a phenolic A ring, and that's why I told you sometimes you may hug a look-alike. So I think come to the summary. The journey of menopause through the ages has not been a pleasant one. With its myths and controversies, the Menopause Society has made significant strides to make menopause more pleasant to women. And estrogen receptor signal binding, ligand receptor interaction involves non-covalent binding with associated electron transfer involving attraction and repulsion. And I may have led you to consider perspectives beyond the usual frame, outside the box. Perhaps I may have led you through estrogen and estrogen receptors to a different, perhaps sublime perspective or viewpoint. And I hope you will pardon me for taking you to this different viewpoint. I will dedicate this oration to post-menopausal women who suffer in silence, and to my mother, late mother, who lived up to 107 years. Half her life she spent in menopause, and I had much to learn from her. She had osteoporotic fractures of the vertebrae, long bones, and some of the complications thereof. And last few years, before she was bound to wheelchair, not because of the fractures, not because of the osteoporotic fractures, but because of chikungunya. This is another thing that we should look for. Not only we should stress on non-communicable diseases, but also on communicable diseases, because during the pandemic, COVID-19 pandemic, as well as the present chikungunya epidemic, we find a lot of women who are estrogen deficient having more complications than the younger women with estrogen. And finally, I used to thank my parents, teachers, and family. I should thank all the past presidents and the council members who have helped in the Menopause Society to bring it to this status, and the office staff and who helped me with the slides, and more than that. And thank you very much to all of you for listening for this audition. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, dear sir, for that enlightening lecture. Now, Dr. Harsha Atapattu will present the Certificate of Appreciation to Dr. NDP Gunarath. Thank you very much, dear sir. And now I invite Dr. Harsha Athapattu for a special announcement.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I take this opportunity to honor a very special invitee in the audience, Professor Wilfred Pereira, the most senior past president of the Sri Lanka College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists, who was also one of the handful of obstetricians and the members who joined at that very big first meeting of the Menopause Society of the Sri Lanka, as well as an office bearer of the first council. Dear sir, let me present you with the book, The Journey So Far, as a tribute for your service.
Ladies and gentlemen, the inauguration ceremony is drawing to a close. And in view of acknowledging the contribution made by many in today's proceedings, I invite Dr. Chintaka Banagala, the Secretary of the Menopause Society of Sri Lanka, to propose a vote of thanks.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. So as we conclude the inauguration ceremony of the Silver Jubilee Annual Academic Sessions of the Menopause Society of Sri Lanka, it is both my privilege and honor to deliver the vote of thanks. So this year we celebrate 25th anniversary in our society, and so far we have witnessed how far our society has come, and please bear with me because it's going to be a bit of a lengthy list, but we have to thank all the people who have supported our society during this journey as well as in this landmark event. So although let me begin by extending our heartfelt gratitude to our guest of honor, Honorable Mrs. Saroja Polraj, although she is not available here at this moment because her schedule, by coming here attending the inauguration ceremony, that we understand she has given a special place in her caliber and the administration work about the Menopause Society. And we are deeply honored by the presence of Professor Mary Ann, Professor of Medical Education and Gynecology, Head of the Reproductive and Maternal Medicine at the University of Glasgow, also a past president in the International Menopause Society. Dear Madam, your unwavering support to our society over the years has been invaluable. Thank you for accepting our invitation without any hesitation and for agreeing to deliver the Dr. M.P.P. Gunaratna endowment lecture which we are going to witness next in this landmark event. And as a society, we sincerely hope you have a pleasant stay in Sri Lanka. A warm thanks to Professor Saida Botol, President of SAFOMS, for your continuous support and for sharing your expertise during the session. We are also grateful to Mr. Kunle Adoni, Country Representative of UNFPA, for your ongoing partnership and generous contributions toward our society work. We are planning to have comprehensive set of guidelines on regarding menopause. And you included our society activities in your annual calendar, and it is greatly appreciated. Also, our sincere thanks goes to Dr. Choon Moho, President of the Asia Pacific Menopause Federation and also the President of the Malaysian Menopause Society for your valuable input during the formulation of this academic program. Heartfelt thanks to our own Dr. M.D.P. Gunaratna sir, our founder president and today's orator. Sir, your vision has laid the foundation for what we are proudly celebrating today, and your guidance is always a source of strength to all of us. On this milestone event on the 25th anniversary, I would like to extend our society's deep appreciation to all the past presidents, secretaries and the council members. Your dedication and leadership have shaped this society, and your presence along with your spouses today has truly elevated the significance of this event. A special note of gratitude to Dr. Sanath Akmimana, President of the Sri Lanka College of Obstetrician and Gynecologists, and also Dr. Mrs. Malina Bevardhana, patron of SSCOG, for your unwavering support and collaboration with our society. So now we are going to embark on 2-day journey of academic enrichment. We are confident that the session will enhance the knowledge and awareness of menopause-related issues among the consultants, trainees and the other healthcare professionals. So at the beginning of the session, I would like to extend my sincere appreciation to our President, Dr. Harsha Thapattu, Chairperson of the Academic Activities, Dr. Janaki Karnasinghe, and Dr. Mangal Disanayaka, who's the Congress Chair, and also Dr. Darshan Abhigunawardena, who's the President-elect, and all the council members. Your tireless efforts have been instrumental in making the academic program a resounding success. So the academic program we have started with highly successful pre-congress workshops, 2 workshops, one on gynecological ultrasound scan, and yesterday we had urogynecology, conducted by Dr. Sonal Panchal and Dr. Aparna Hedge. So thank you, madams, for sharing your expertise with our delegates. Also, we have our foreign faculties, Dr. Van Seisman representing APMF, and Dr. Sinat Nasreen from Bangladesh, Dr. Ampuja Chonar from India, and Dr. Sheila Verma from Nepal. And also including our local speakers, all the local speakers from the universities and the health ministry and all the other professional bodies. Thank you for your commitment in sharing the knowledge and academic excellence have truly contributed to enrich our program. Special note of thanks for all the chairpersons and judges who have agreed to participate in the academic session for your support and service. Also, we acknowledge the outstanding editorial work done by Dr. Sharad Jailath and his team, bringing up the abstract book and the related publications. Thank you, Dr. Sharad. We are proud to launch, as you have witnessed, the 25th anniversary commemorative album, and we extend our deepest appreciation to Dr. Hemantha Pereira, sir, and his editorial team for your tireless dedication and commitment to bring up this book on time. And our sincere thanks goes to all our well-wishers, sponsors, led by our treasurer, Dr. Champa Nelson. So, event of this magnitude would not have been possible without the generous contributions from our sponsors. So, we have to thank them. We have our platinum sponsor, CIC Abbott, and then we have Renata Limited coming as our gold sponsor. UNFPA this year also have come forward and